Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nscdc, says it has detained over 20 members of illegal private guard companies, PJC, operating within Enugu State metropolis. The commandant of Nscdc Enugu State Command, Dr. Elijah Willie, said this in an interview with the press in Enugu on Sunday. Willie said that the Corps in the past months had intensified its enforcement and regulatory efforts and operations against illegal private guard companies operating in the state. And standing by in Zoom to have the conversation around Nscdc and private security firms, a discussion with us on Signature Evening is Nnaemeka Obiora, security expert, GM, Sonafem Agencies Limited. Good evening, Onyisi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Recently, we had feelers that the Nscdc arrested some persons operating private security firms. I don't know if this is confirmed, if your agency, your organization, PGM, that's what it's called, right? Private guards, whatever, the union.
That
Okay.
company,
Did this actually happen?
Yes, there were some arrests. There was an enforcement, and there were some arrests that were carried out.
Who are operating private security firms illegally, is that the point?
Yes, they were all operating illegally, and an enforcement was carried out, and some arrests were made.
How did you come to this point? I mean, these are persons who are expected to provide security, and then they are doing so in illegality, operating in illegality. How did you come to this point?
Before now, there have been a lot of, before the regulating of the industry, there have been a lot of people operating. Now, since after the regulation, there has been drive to make people obtain their licenses to operate and all the necessary trainings and permits needed in the industry. Now, the time lapse have expired, and there is a drive now to stop all those operating illegally from operating in the industry.
Mr. Nnaemeka, how exactly does the Nscdc supervise and regulate private security firms under the Nigerian law?
Okay, the Nigerian law provides that every private security company is under the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense. So they will license you, they will vet our directors, they will train the trainers, and most times again, train the guards. Then after that, they will supervise us while we are operating. Now, in the course of providing that supervision, both the association and the Nscdc noticed that some companies are alien to the industry and they were operating. So that necessitated the drive to move around and try to close up those businesses operating illegally.
Honestly, can you please adjust your camera and give us a better shot? If possible, you make it steady.
Okay.
It's
This
okay
is better,
now.
right? Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what other challenges hinder the effective collaboration between the Nscdc and the private security firms?
The collaboration is great. We've had a series of stakeholders meeting. There's one that's going to take place tomorrow at the command. We have workshops, then the monitoring they provide, and routine visits they make to our offices to see that we align to the provisions of the law. setting up private security company. So I think the relationship is great for those of us in the industry.
I don't know, given the risky trend of private security firms in Nigeria, what recommendations would you propose to enhance the regulatory framework governing these various private security providers? What would you suggest? Why would we have that? I mean, this is a very scary situation. So what would you recommend?
I think the enforcement will continue because in the industry, you see a lot of businesses having employing people and giving them uniforms to operate as private guards. You also see a lot of the popular megaguards guarding businesses and private homes. So what we are saying is we need registered individuals because every security company register their guards. These guards go through certain trainings. We make certain reports back to the state commands. Then in turn, they make the same back to the national headquarters and to some extent to the DSS office. So for that, we need to continue to thrive on that, to continue to improve that communication, that process. So for that to happen very well, we need to eliminate all those who are not operating legally in the industry. So that's a good direction. The next stage is prosecution. So we need to see to what extent every person caught operating illegally is brought to the ambit of the law. And beyond that, there are plenty areas of improvement for the private industry and civil defense. There's the issue of technology that needs to be enhanced. We're already doing that. There's the issue of reviewing the establishing acts so that we could operate seamlessly in the industry. So all those are in the pipeline, and we hope that those will soon be taken care of.
Recommendations, but in the line of duties as a private security provider, do you encounter challenges that you know that can be resolved? I mean, the challenges that you cannot resolve yourself, but maybe the regulatory body should come into. Are there any such?
Yes, there are. The case in point that we have in the industry is the situations where the client don't want to pay. So the regulators have been good to that. They come out and they engage the client on behalf of the said vendor, and those payments has also been done. We also have issues where some investigations are needed. So we go to them first to come and aid in the investigation. Then if it goes beyond, we also invite the police to come and assist within the law establishing all the regulators.
And that's for your relationship with your clients.
Process. Yeah,
you know, you are not licensed to carry arms. So in the line of duty, are there challenges that you encounter?
Yes. We encounter a lot of challenges, the issue of syndicates and the issue of armed robberies in some, you know, we are private security and we're in the banks, and sometime in the past we hear about armed robbery, and some of the guards for the private security industry lost their lives, and it keeps going on. We're always the first point of contact between the clients and their customers, and between the issue that is about to happen and the client's business. So it's a big risk. We put in our lives, we put in our soul and spirit to see that everything goes well.
Okay, Interesting. So how else can the NSCDC ensure that only qualified security firms are allowed to operate in the country?
The licensing will continue, and the issue of monitoring and controlling the industry space has to continue. That's the enforcement, because people come up every day with new ideas, and it's only by that enforcement that we could make sure that those remaining in the industry are all licensed. And I think we are trying to take it a step further, where anybody operating in the industry is prosecuted too, so that would be a clear deterrence to every other person who thinks he can come into the industry and operate illegally.
Okay. Do you really think that the presence of private security firms, reduces the pressure on government security agencies?
Very, 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 very plenty. In a lot of ways, I can begin to describe for you. So when we talk about access control, you will meet us there. When you talk about CCTV monitoring, we are there. When you talk about protection of properties, both government and private, we are there. There is not enough government security agency personnel to go around, and that's where we come in. In the past, we have asked for more responsibilities from the government, and while we are waiting for that to happen. But in the present space, our presence is very important for businesses, for the seamless operation of businesses and protection of assets. So we are there, and businesses that are using private security companies knows the benefit, and they are enjoying it.
Now that our conversation has gone to this angle, is there some way that private security providers kind of overlap the jurisdiction of government security agencies?
No, there is a clear demarcation where our own stops, the government security agencies takes over. For instance, when there is an issue that needs the presence of civil defense personnel or Nigerian police, we refer those cases to them for the investigation and prosecution. We don't go for investigations and prosecutions that goes to court. So investigations that goes to court and the actual prosecution, private security companies don't do that. So while in the course of doing our access control, protection of properties and life, if there is a breach to any of it, we make a quick reference to the relevant authorities. And if there is a need to prosecute, we take those matters to the court.
You talked about training and retraining. If you can still hear us, do you encounter some challenges in this regards, perhaps financial or otherwise? Any form of resources hindering the training and retraining of private security personnel?
You know the saying that good soup na money kill 'em. So if quality guards needs quality training, and for a quality training to happen, you need financials to do that. That's lacking very well in the industry. The civil defense has tried to provide this training across board quarterly for private companies, our guards, and they have also trained the trainers. Private security companies also try to go the extra mile to train their staffs and get some certifications that can keep them relevant in the industry. Sure, the number one challenge to getting a quality training is cash. The second one is the access to those training, and all those things are being worked on.
Confidence does the public have on has on private security firms. I think that between Nigerians and the Nigerian police force is not thing to write home about. How about the relationship between Nigerians and the private security providers?
I think to a great extent is cordial. The challenge is always the individual human nature, which is overcome greatly by the relevant training. Now, the industry space is wide. And so I'll say if you take somebody who has training for the banking sector and you put the person in manufacturing sector, you can't perform. So is if you take it to the hospitality sector or health sector, they can't perform. So that training is a continuous variable that allows exchange of knowledge, ideas, how to operate. So the confidence fails when people with relevant trainings are not placed in the right place. So most private security companies also try to position themselves either for corporate or for homes or for, so in choosing a company, we need to, the public needs also to be a bit up to geared towards choosing a company that is relevant to what they provide. And that will help to improve the image between the private security companies and the public.
Okay, so how best can technology and information sharing enhance the synergy between Nscdc and the private security companies?
So for technology, we know there are many platforms now that we can use to make a quick share of information. And it's not just sharing the information, it's what we do with the information. That's what happens. So the technology is there, we should drive it a bit forward to be able to facilitate the use of that information. So it goes both ways. So that is welcomed in the industry. Sorry, what's the second one you said? You said technology and
technology and information sharing. Technology and
so
information
the
sharing.
information sharing is about the speed at which we share the relevant information of what is happening, the situation around the beats, and so on. So if there is an incident in an area, we quickly call the relevant government security agents that could respond. And when there's a quick response to the incident, the lives and properties will be preserved. So it's about the speed, it's about the flexibility of the use of the information and the technology that is made available. But I know that some security companies have gone to the extent of providing certain relevant technologies for their own operation, at least to preserve assets. And is going on in the industry to a great extent. And I'm sure that we'll get there one day.
And your relationship with Nscdc, have you had any form of contention in the past, though, including those that have been resolved or not, in the line of duty?
Yes, the issue of licensing, Nigerian security and civil defense always take that serious. And you know the period between when your licenses expire and when you get your renewal is always a tension period. So we always have that because for those of us registered, they want to make sure we remain compliant. And once we have that 1 or 2 months gap, they're always there to push us to make sure that we've done all the necessary preparations. Then there are other issues. It's a family. We always disagree and agree, and it's a continuous thing. But the most important thing that we all sit to agree. Just like I said, we are having a stakeholders meeting tomorrow in Enugu Command to look at some issues and agree to the ones that we have issues over.
Of private security outfit firms in Nigeria, not just big or in Enugu State, and because of what just happened recently, do you foresee or are there currently challenges associated with privatizing certain aspects of security?
No, all we can get from privatizing the security is efficiency. So whatever aspect or the level of security that is required, once is privatized, the term of reference will be clear and the efficiency will set in.
As we conclude this conversation, what future trends do you foresee in the relationship between Nscdc and private security firms? And I think you should take on that, then I ask you the concluding question.
Okay. So that this will not skip my mind, the association's name is Association of Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria. I think I missed that at the beginning. Now, back to your question. The industry is evolving. So is crime. So is the need of what needs to be done in the private sector for security. There is a lot of collaboration going on, a lot of think tank going on in ways to make private security firms more involved in the security architecture of the country. And first in point is there is a regulation with the National Assembly, and we hope that it has gone through about the second reading. We hope that it will go through all the readings and get passed. That will further enhance us to provide security better. Then other things happening around, like the area of VIP movements, private security is also going into there. You know, the cash in transit. So these are things that are coming into the industry every day, and the government agencies are releasing some of those things for private security companies to move in and occupy that space.
All of this, we know that Nigeria is having continuous security challenges, and for some reasons it's on the increase, yet to be abated. So private security firms, you have already affirmed that they're doing the most in ensuring that we have experienced robust security in Nigeria. So I am asking, as the security needs increase, what role will the private security providers play in order to rise up to the challenge?
So we are not relenting. If you have looked at the trend of the security challenges we have had in the country, private security company has played a part, and I can beat my chest to say that within the view of our own time of reference, we have maintained that trust with the public. And security is an evolving trend. And as it's changing, the roles of private security companies will continue to change, and will continue to incrementally take up more tasks so that the government agencies can face the more serious task while we take up the more tasks of administering the public space.
Thank you very much, Nnaemeka Obiora, for joining us on Politicus this evening. We appreciate your company and contribution.
Thank you.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.